Paramount can't catch a break. They are yet again receiving another lawsuit, and this time the whole country is ganging up against this merger. Okay, maybe not the whole country, but California, New York, and other US states are preparing a lawsuit to block Paramount's $110 billion acquisition of Warner Bros. Over the next couple of weeks. We don't know which other states are going to be joining the lawsuit, but this could hold up the deal for like a couple of months if a judge issues an order to pause the merger while this lawsuit is ongoing. Bearing in mind that Paramount have said that they want to close in on this deal by July. If this merger does delay due to this lawsuit, shareholders will receive quite a heavy payout, as Paramount have agreed to pay shareholders a fee from October, which equals about $6.9 million a day. A Paramount spokesperson continues to defend this merger, as we would expect, and says that it would bring greater competition, and opposing it means giving entrenched incumbents like Netflix an advantage they do not deserve. Ouch. They continue on to say, "We will continue to fight against any attempt to derail a deal that plainly benefits consumers, creators, and the industry as a whole." This house of cards just keeps getting weaker and weaker. First, we hear of the 4,000 plus Hollywood figures that signed a public letter opposing this deal. And then Paramount's own subscriber base are suing them, opposing this merger. And now we have a number of American states suing Paramount, all for the same reasons. Not to mention the industry figureheads like Michael O'Leary, the CEO of Cinema United, and Mark Ruffalo, who have boldly and very clearly stated their opposition against this deal. Paramount are really getting it from all sides, and I expect them to continue to defend their stance, especially to prove the naysayers wrong, but it's crazy to see all the backlash that they're getting that are now ending up in lawsuits. And with no surprise, it doesn't end there. To add to the current chaos, a town hall took place with Hollywood workers, union officials, and an FCC commissioner who all voiced their opposition against the Paramount-Warner Bros. Merger, with some arguing that it will be the death of Hollywood, along with other recent challenges they've been facing. At this town hall, a producer said, "A domino fell during the pandemic, another fell during the writers' strike. If Paramount merges with Warner Bros., it may be the final domino that knocks everything down." As we've talked about before, the fear is that the merger would lead to thousands of layoffs, as well as the removal of a key buyer in the marketplace for projects, and less work for those who are already facing the effects of the industry. The outcries are continuing, and it's not stopping anytime soon. Last news on Paramount. It doesn't get any better. They have been asked to turn over board-level internal communications relating to Shari Redstone firing 3 special committee members around the time that National Amusements were reaching a deal with Skydance. The special committee members were responsible for representing Paramount's shareholders. Remember this, as it's key to the story. Now, who is Shari Redstone? She happens to be a very accomplished woman. I'm going to have to read this one. She was the non-executive chairwoman of Paramount Global, the former vice chair of CBS Corporation and Viacom, and chairwoman, president, and CEO of National Amusements. That's quite a resume. National Amusements was an American privately owned movie theater operator and mass media holding company who are responsible for Showcase Cinemas. The issue we're discussing around Shari Redstone involves one of the groups of investors that involves Paramount shareholders suspecting the deal around the sale of National Amusements, the entity that she controlled, unfairly benefited Shari Redstone at the expense of the shareholders. The investors believe that Shari Redstone steered the sale of National Amusements by exercising improper influence over the special committee's negotiation of the deal. Remember, the special committee are the ones that represent the Paramount shareholders, in order to block a sale of Paramount in favor of the sale of National Amusements only. Stay with me. Thus, the investigation demands handing over communications that happened at board level regarding Shari Redstone's firing of these 3 special committee members. And as explained before, the idea is that she fired them to benefit the sale of her owned company. And so in other words, the court wants to take a closer look into the deal around Skydance and how it was negotiated to see if Shari unfairly and shrewdly benefited of this deal at the expense of these committee members. A little complicated, that story, but we'll keep our eye out for updates as and when they come. It just speaks to Paramount's continued crazy chaos. Last but not least, Dan Lin, chairman of Netflix's film division, has come out on a clear stance to say that Netflix will not be doing theatrical releases. He says, "There is a group of filmmakers who still want theatrical. Those are filmmakers that we've accepted we just won't work with." This is, of course, quite a contrast to what I reported on in a previous video, saying that Netflix are going to debut their first theatrical film next year with Greta Gerwig's Narnia film. That gesture was clearly a sign from Netflix that they're open to work with movie theatres. We have also heard recently that The Adventures of Cliff Booth, featuring Brad Pitt, will also feature in cinema, specifically IMAX, in December, a production also by Netflix. In spite of these upcoming theatrical releases and conflicting messages, Dan Lin has made it very clear that Netflix will mostly stick to streaming. We'll see if another Netflix representative comes out to kind of clear up these comments, because it's a little bit of a mess to come out boldly with this stance when you have 2 theatrical releases in the horizon. That's all I have for TWIF this week in film. Guys, will Paramount ever stop being sued? Or are there more lawsuits to come? What do you think? And Dan Lin's comments over at Netflix, what do you think about that and these theatrical releases? Like this video if you got this far. It helps boost the video and it helps other people join in the discussion as well. Let me know what you think of the topics and I'll see you in the comments.